Facts of the situation are that the vehicle was weaponized and it attacked the law enforcement officer. He defended himself and he defended those individuals around him. That is the definition. When there is something that is weaponized to use against the public and law enforcement, that is an act of domestic terrorism. It happened in our shores. It happened here in our country. You don't get to change the facts just because you don't like them. We will continue to look at this individual and what her motivations were. We know that there was, throughout that morning, she had harassed and impeded law enforcement operations. That raises the suspicion level with all of these law enforcement officers as far as paying attention to what her capacity is. And as you see on the videos, and they've proven out, that this law enforcement officer took the action that his training prepared him for, and he worked to make sure that he could save his own life and those around him.
Actions of ICE, they are unconstitutional, unlawful, they are cruel, they are rogue, they are racist, and they are terrorizing communities. They are sowing chaos and terrorizing communities.
Meanwhile,
Why are you guys harassing? Now you're recording. Okay, good job.
Why are you doing
I'm trying
this?
to give you a warning.
I'm a girl.
trying to give you a warning, okay?
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
You keep following us, you're going to end up like him. You're going to get arrested. Okay?
Okay.
Go home.
Okay.
Are they with you?
I don't know who that is.
What's up, family? So we got to talk about these liberal and Democrat tiers real quick because it's getting out of hand. Like these folks really out here crying and screaming like toddlers at Target, trying to tell the Trump administration what to do, especially when it comes to ICE and immigration enforcement. But I want to break it down so everybody can understand. ICE is immigration and customs enforcement, but that's the agency that deals with folks who are in the country illegally. Not just border stuff, but also deportations, raids, all of that. Now, under Trump, they're not playing no games. They sticking to the script. They enforcing the law how it's written and not how people feel about it. But the Democrats, oh, they swear they can guilt trip, lie, cry, and pressure the administration into backing down like this is some high school lunch table drama. And they want ICE to stop deporting people, stop the raids, stop enforcing the rules altogether. Like they really think feelings override federal law. And I'm like, yo, that's not how this works. Just because you scream louder doesn't mean you're right. And you can't bend reality just because you don't like it. The law is the law, and ICE is doing what ICE was created to do. And what's wild is the media and these political figures, they straight up lying to people, spinning stories to make it seem like Trump and ICE are out here hunting people down for fun, when in reality, there are operations, or these are operations, I should say, targeting folks who already broke immigration laws or ignored court orders. So no matter how many crocodile tears they shed, no matter how many protest signs they wave, which we know they are paid actors, the question is, when are we going to finally figure out who is paying these people? Because I don't understand how the hell they don't have no job, no kid to take care of, bills or any responsibilities to take care of. But this administration ain't folding, and I'm happy about that. And they standing on business in regards to the matter, because this is what was voted for, right? As a president, and as the election went on, and Kamala Harris got beat. Thank God, because we dodged a bullet, as we come to know that Governor Tim Walz over there in Minnesota, who almost was our vice president, almost, that's the key word. We dodged a bullet. He has been coming to advocate fraud and obviously disrespect the American taxpayer by continuing to allow fraud and corruption over there in the state of Minnesota, which is finally coming out thanks to President Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, Homeland Security, and as we know, ICE being on the ground. And that is what is driving the left crazy, because they're used to the Republicans being soft, saying one thing and backing down later. But Trump, you're not moving. So yeah, expect more lies, more headlines, more emotional manipulation. But at the end of the day, enforcement ain't stopping, period. Okay. So I want to go to what I want to share on my screen in regards of this whole thing with Renee Good, right? Because the Democrats are out here acting like they the only ones telling the truth, like everybody else is lying except them, even though the actual video footage out here contradicting every word they say. And they're really trying to spin this story like this woman, Renee Good, was just some innocent, wholesome wife. And mother was trying to do a little old 3-point turn in the middle of the street, which took 3 minutes. But I want you guys to look at it for yourself, and then I continue to talk about it more. But let me know down in the comments, does it really take 3 minutes to do a 3-point turn? Let me know. Maybe to someone who's a new driver or taking their driver's test. But in this case, this was none of that. This was literally someone who was supposed to be a legal driver, a citizen who just wanted to be an agent of chaos of choice, to disrupt and obstruct federal law enforcement. But check it out. So there you have it, right? You get the gist of it. She was in the middle of the street. So, like, that's what we doing now. We acting like she was out here practicing her driving test, right? So, Department of Homeland Security, as you guys can see on X, uh, for the folks in the back, literally posted a 3-minute video unedited, showing this woman sitting in the road, not turning, not easing out, just sitting there blocking ICE agents from doing their job. But like, be for real. Who takes 3 minutes to do a 3-point turn? You're either doing a turn or you blocking traffic, and she was clearly blocking traffic, as you guys seen in the video. But I want to get to Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, one of the softest dudes in politics, talking about she was just trying to turn around and ICE came out of nowhere and basically assassinated her. Like, bro, you telling me she was fleeing while simultaneously innocent and somehow ICE jumped out the bushes like this was Grand Theft Auto. But don't take my word for it. I want you guys to check it out.
I want you to respond to what she said about you telling ICE to get the F out. She says you and the leaders in Minneapolis have been demonizing ICE officers. And it is true that you've been critical of Secretary Noem for her quick characterization of the incident. But you also said on Wednesday, quote, this was a federal agent recklessly using power that resulted in somebody dying. Does your rhetoric need to change?
Yeah, I said this was a federal agent recklessly using power that ended up in somebody dying because that was a federal agent recklessly using power that ended up in somebody dying. It's exactly what happened. I mean, am I biased in this? Of course, and I'm biased because I got two eyes. Anybody can see these videos. Anybody can see that this victim is not a domestic terrorist. I mean, my goodness, she's like doing a 3 or a 4 or 5 point turn. This looks like somebody that's trying to get out of there. If doing a 3-point turn or a 4-point turn is a domestic terrorist, and my wife is a criminal every single day. It does not make sense. We've got to be operating from a point of course, have this investigation. It should be a neutral, unbiased investigation where you get the facts, you know. And by the way, I shouldn't be the one conducting the investigation, nor should Kristi Noem. But you should have an entity that is able to do it with some common sense and operating in reality.
Start with you. What should Democrats in Congress be doing now in response to everything that's happened regarding what happened with the ICE officer in Minnesota?
Well, first of all, I think every American should be deeply offended that they are being lied to by their government. I saw your interview with Kristi Noem. She's lying to people. Donald Trump is lying to people. J.D. Vance is lying to people. And through my experience and through what happened in Minneapolis, it's very clear that ICE is completely out of control. It's a rogue, lawless agency that has detained American citizens. They've assaulted people. They are putting people in the worst possible conditions in the detention centers. And now the worst has happened in that they murdered an American citizen, Renee Nicole Good. Congress immediately needs to rein in ICE. I think Republicans need to come on board and recognize that when they have just given DHS $170 billion in the One Big Beautiful Bill, the actions of DHS need to be held accountable. The vast majority of Americans don't support ICE right now. New polling shows that Americans think that ICE is being too forceful, that they've gone too far, and they need to be reined in. And the bare minimum of that is, you know, agents should be unmasked. They need to have proper training. One of the main issues is that thousands of people are being hired very quickly. They're not trained properly, and they are acting in this way. Even, you know, at a police department, you know that police officers are getting proper training to use non-lethal force if they feel their lives are at risk. So Congress needs to rein this in. We need more accountability. We need an immediate investigation on this situation. But honestly, ICE is not making our communities any safer.
So she said a couple things I'd love to hear your response to. One is she called it a murder, and two, the Congresswoman also is suggesting that ICE's funds should be frozen or something in terms of the government funding bill.
I believe that funding should be stripped entirely.
Stripped entirely, and the government funding bill's coming up.
We're going to clearly disagree on a lot of things. I don't think the rhetoric like this is useful. I think the mayor's rhetoric is despicable. He's out there saying F ICE. I support law enforcement. F ICE. Get out of our cities. It makes people less safe. I'm going to cooperate with certain people, but not other people. This is the law in the United States. If you don't like it, pass it. Get your colleagues. Change the law. Change the law. If you don't like it, bring it up in the Senate and the Congress. No, wait. It's my turn to talk. He didn't murder anybody. It's my turn to talk.
We all saw.
Wait. It's my turn to talk. I was respectful to you. Let me talk. Please. When that gentleman, when she showed up that morning, she weaponized that vehicle. Jake, she could have been standing there with a Glock on her hip, okay? The police wouldn't have fired at her. They said, please get out of the car. She didn't get out of the vehicle. When she revved that vehicle engine, when she revved the engine and proceeded forward, she weaponized it. That officer did not have the hindsight of hours of watching videotape. He had a microsecond to make a decision whether to fire her or not to fire her. Do you think he wanted to end somebody's life that day? No, she made a conscious decision to go there, break the law, protest. And when she did that, she weaponized the car, just like raising a Glock to his head. He had a split-second decision to make to shoot or not to shoot. So to say that he was wait, to say that, no, wait. To say that, yeah, because she tried to run him over.
Let's bring in Ashley.
So there you have it. But make it make sense, right? This is what they do, right? It's all about the narrative, not the facts. Democrats love to twist up the story until it fits what they wish happened. And they claim her car didn't hit the ICE agents, even though we literally saw it happen. They say ICE overreacted, like the agent's supposed to wait until he's actually under the car before he defends himself. These people ain't operating in the real world. And like at some point, we got to call it what it is. It's gaslighting. Next level, Olympic grade gaslighting. They look at you dead in your eye while the video is playing and still say that's not what happened. But like, bro, I got two eyes. I see what I see. And what I saw is this woman acting as a human blockade, interfering with federal law enforcement and then accelerating her vehicle toward a federal officer. And I want to break that down for real. A car, a 2-ton vehicle, when used to drive at somebody, that becomes a deadly weapon. That's not just traffic, that's life or death. And any human being, law enforcement or not, has a right to defend themselves from a threat like that. But according to the liberals, apparently the ICE agent got to get hit first, maybe fly across the hood, maybe get dragged a couple feet, and then he can decide if he's allowed to do something. And I'm going to say it again. She shouldn't have been there in the first place, and if he could move out the way, he could have moved out the way. Two things could be true at the same time. So I don't know what we're talking about. It's crazy. Despite all this media noise, despite all the crying on TV, despite the lies being repeated over and over like it's gospel, the Trump administration ain't backing down. And in fact, they are doubling down, and they're sending more ICE agents to Minneapolis. So yeah, you heard me, more, not less. Homeland Security, Kristi Noem said it herself. They flooded the zone. Hundreds more ICE agents headed straight to the city, ready to shut this foolishness down. So while the media trying to turn this woman into some type of martyr, and while Democrats out here playing emotional gymnastics with the truth, the real world is moving forward. The law is being enforced, and ICE ain't folding. And the facts, the real, raw, unfiltered facts, are on tape for anybody with functioning eyes to see. But like I said, some people ain't operating in reality anymore. Their ideology is their reality, and that's the scariest part. But now I want to move on to another clip. Check this out.
Our top story tonight, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says hundreds more ICE agents will be coming to Minnesota following the shooting death of Renee Good by an ICE officer.
Secretary Noem said these agents will be on the ground as soon as today.
We're sending more officers today and tomorrow. They'll arrive. There'll be hundreds more, and in order to allow our ICE and our Border Patrol individuals that are working in Minneapolis to do so safely. We're going to continue to, if they conduct violent activities against law enforcement, if they impede our operations, that's a crime, and we will hold them accountable to those consequences.
It's not clear exactly how many officers will be coming to the Twin Cities or how many are already here in Minnesota. Earlier this month, the DHS reported they sent 1,500 ICE officers and 600 Homeland Security investigators into the state with the reported aim of tackling fraud. We'll keep you updated as this story progresses.
And you got to love how the Trump administration ain't flinching one bit. Like they're refusing to back down, not even a little. Matter of fact, they're tripling down and looking the Democrats dead in the face and saying, yeah, we still here doing our jobs and still kicking ass while we do it. And now they mad crying on camera because ICE is out here doing exactly what they were created to do. Right? Make it make sense. This whole situation, especially the one that got covered by News Nation, which we about to get into a second, it shows you the intensity of what we're dealing with. You got liberals out here throwing tantrums in the streets like overgrown toddlers. And it's a shame you have to tell them as adults that you shouldn't obstruct law enforcement and get in the way in front of a state, your local federal enforcement officer or federal officers. You shouldn't be getting in front of their cars in the first place, let alone getting in their face and also trying to provoke. And they're in the midst of an operation to get illegals out to uphold national security for the safety of you, American taxpayer, let alone citizen, and the national security of the United States, right? the safety for all. You would think you would want officers to protect you and ICE to be in the communities. But it makes me wonder, for these individuals who feel like they should go against ICE, how about we just don't let them call police when they're in trouble? Let me know down in the comments below, because if you against ICE, which is an officer, no matter how you want to put it, officer, a federal officer, local officer, state officer, same thing, they all officers enforcing the law, then don't sit there and cry when you need the law on your side to protect you. Don't call them. Simple as that. But I want you guys to picture this, because imagine you live in one of these neighborhoods where all this clanging and banging is going on against these ICE officers, right? You got these so-called protesters out here being loud as hell, banging pots and pans and blowing whistles, blocking the streets like it's some parade, and you actually support law and order, or you're just trying to live your life. But check out this clip from News Nation.
Breaking news right now out of Minneapolis. Look at this. Protesters clashing with authorities, allegedly interfering with active ICE operations in the city happening right now. The Associated Press is reporting demonstrators are on the streets blocking ICE officers there at the scene. Well, News Nation's Mills Hayes is live for us in Minneapolis. They're on the ground. Mills, tell us what you are seeing right now.
And well, we are about 15 minutes away from where all of that action is taking place. And we know that there are dozens of officers and protesters on the ground. We have seen some clashes between those two groups, and officers have deployed some sort of chemical or spray. We're not sure whether or not that's tear gas or pepper spray balls. Now, I did speak with a source with the Minneapolis Police Department who tells me that the Homeland Security Investigations team was executing a search warrant at that home. And through that video that we're getting from the Associated Press, you can see those officers pulling out an individual from that home and taking them into custody, and people in that home as well, whether they be family or friends, reacting, of course, very upset. You could have heard that woman saying no, no, no. And so it is an ongoing scene right now, and we are going to be sending a team over there to check out exactly what is happening. This, of course, is breaking right now. We know that this is supposed to be the largest immigration enforcement operation in the country. That's according to DHS. And so it's unclear whether or not this person may be someone that they're targeting, that they are trying to deport, or whether or not this has to do with those fraud investigations that they're looking into, Anna. So again, a very situation that is changing minute by minute.
And just a very emotional situation on all sides right now. And this, of course, is on the heels of the shooting that involved the ICE agent who shot and killed Renee Good, the 37-year-old who allegedly was in her car trying to block him. Who is helping these protesters organize? What are you learning from being there on the ground, Mills?
Well, there's a lot of different groups, but I will say it is kind of a little all over the place. There's different groups that work together. There's different signal chats and that they have of ICE sightings. So anytime that someone sees an ICE officer or a Border Patrol agent, they'll put that in that signal group chat, and people will sometimes respond. Now, of course, there is the federal building not too far from here as well, where a lot of those ICE officers leave that building.
My question is, what is she crying for? They never said that. That's what makes me wonder. But again, you got these so-called protesters out here being loud as ever, banging pots and pans, blocking the streets like it's a parade, and you actually support law and order. Or maybe you ain't even political at all. Maybe you're just trying to chill, or you go to work, or raise your kids, or get a decent night's sleep. But you can't do that, because now you got these woke revolutionaries outside your house honking horns like it's demolition derby, and it's chaos. And the wild part is, we got to ask the real question: who is paying for all of this? Because the way these people show up on cue all at once every single time something happens, that's not it can't be organic. That's not regular people behavior. It's like orchestrated, like somebody behind the scenes pulling the strings. And then when the news finally admits, yeah, they're actually obstructing ICE, like literally blocking federal officers with their cars, honking horns to mess up the operation, the Democrats start spinning the fairy tale like, oh, she was doing a 3-point turn. Bro, if y'all don't stop playing, like, this ain't no driving test. She wasn't just out there sipping Starbucks and minding her business. She was interfering with federal law enforcement. So like, how long we gonna pretend that the sky ain't blue? And all this boils down to one thing: power and control. That's it. These people don't care about the facts. They will lie straight to your face because the truth is a threat to their agenda. And meanwhile, ICE is out here rounding up the worst of the worst: killers, rapists, child predators. And the left is like, wait, stop, don't do that. That's racist. How we even get to that? It doesn't make sense. So now you saying you don't want your neighborhoods terrorized by criminals makes you a bad person. Like, that makes you sane to me. So that makes you somebody with common sense as well to me. But in this upside down clown world, these people enforcing the law are the villains, and the people breaking it, oh, they get protected like VIPs or something. It's just insane to me. And let's be clear, all of this chaos is happening because Democrats refuse to cooperate. ICE wouldn't even need to operate like this if local officers weren't running sanctuary city policies, basically rolling out the red carpet for criminals. If Democrats actually followed federal law and helped ICE, these operations would be smoother, quieter, and safer for everybody. But nah, they choose obstruction. They choose defiance. And then they cry when the federal government steps in and handles business. Like I said, they got a whole list of illegals committing crimes. And we're going to get to that in a minute. Let's finish this up.
Building, and there are groups that stand out right there on the side as well that will write down the license plates and tell people in those group chats to look out for these people, and that's where we'll see those people follow officers. And we actually even saw some people following a caravan of Border Patrol agents here just about 2 hours ago. We saw at least 3 other people in cars that were following them, honking their horns, trying to disrupt those operations, and also having their phones out recording, someone even yelling out to us, "That's ICE, that's ICE." It ended up actually being Border Patrol. We saw them in their the camouflage uniforms that of course is Border Patrol. And so they are using their phones and social media. A lot of the different some of them are nonprofits, some of them are just groups that have been created online through Instagram, and that's where they'll be updating a lot of the people that follow along. We also know that there is some different meetings that are happening later today, actually here in Minneapolis, for some of those groups that are going to be talking about how to respond when ICE is in your community. And we know that a lot of the people here, the protesters, use those whistles to alert whenever there are ICE officers. And we have seen people, those protesters, also know where some of the agents and officers are staying by following their cars and, keeping track of those license plates as well. And we have seen those noise demonstrations outside of hotels as well. So it's definitely a move by these protesters to try to disrupt these enforcement operations and using their cars as well to block officers, which of course is what we heard from DHS that Renee Nicole Good was trying to do earlier this week when she was unfortunately killed by an ICE officer. And that has sparked a lot of anger from these protesters as well, Anna.
Thank you for watching.
There you have it. So what I have gotten from this video is a lot of nonprofits, right? Nonprofits are scams to me. In the name of nonprofits, when it comes to the Democrats, basically in the name of scams, through these nonprofits, they funnel the money to get these protesters together to be on cue, to act like they're so hurt about enforcing the law to get criminals off the street. But instead, they're actually protecting criminals in the name of fraud by paying these protesters, because these protesters, to me, they're bought out. They don't have a soul and they don't stand for nothing, and they want to be part of something because obviously they probably never been part of nothing as a child. I'm just going to be real with you. So, when you feel like you want to be part of the group, you'll do anything to be part of the VIP group. And in this case, the VIP group is to roll out the red carpet so criminals stay on the street, as in the name of nonprofit, aka scamming, by using nonprofits as a way to make it as though it's a good cause through activism, but it's really not, because nonprofits obviously curate their own monies. Well, they don't. They make it like they don't, but they take donations, is what I'm saying. So they're not for-profit organizations, but they're a nonprofit in the name of they don't operate as a way of capitalism. So they don't give a service to get paid for it, but they will take donations to continue to do things for a good cause. But I don't understand how obstruction in the name of interrupting an operation to get criminals off the street is a good cause, let alone the donations you are taking. You're obviously being controlled by your donations because you're bought out to obviously sit there and interfere with a whole operation to be an agent of chaos, to mess with and provoke and dox ICE agents. Like, these aren't people either, but that's so-called humanitarian, right? Which is obviously, to me, the most anti-American thing ever. But this is, in the name of the Democrats, a humanitarian act in a way of having a good cause through nonprofits in which they are brought and paid for protesters. So I'm going to say this. I don't know how boldly or straightforward to say it, but this article from the New York Post says Minnesota ICE operation continues, netting 10 killers, violent child, you know what, but lefty polls want agents out. And these are the people, right? So you have these criminals that I said I was going to show you guys in a minute. Well, these are the criminals, right? And these Democrats refuse to cooperate. And these are the criminals they're committing, right? And when you look at that, you mean to tell me Renee Good died in the name of these people? And just imagine that. Rolling out the red carpet for criminals. And I don't see how they don't see nothing wrong with it. These individuals committed crimes, illegals committing crimes so nasty, I can't even say half of them out loud due to YouTube and the sensitivity of it. But Democrats are out here defending this, right? And you see all the crimes down here. These are all the people. These are the faces. These are the crimes. You name it. So let's call it what it is. Treacherous behavior. That's right. They're putting non-citizens, people who broke the law just to be here, over their own fellow Americans, and that's betrayal. But shout out to the Trump administration for not folding. And this is the kind of spine we need in politics. And they stand on business, carrying out what would be the largest mass deportation operation in American history. And guess what? Ain't nothing these whiny politicians can do to stop it. They can cry, they can protest, they can spin lies on MSNBC, now known as MS Now. The train is moving, and that's why we got to vote. And listen to me, these lunatics, they vote. They vote hard. They get mad emotional, turn around, hit the polls like their life depends on it. In the name of delusion. So if you're sitting at home laughing at the memes with the liberal tears, but you don't show up to vote, you're playing yourself, because their tears translate into ballots. And if they get power back, it's over. So if the Democrats take back control, ICE is gone. And they will abolish it, and they'll throw the border wide open. As you can see, that's why they're fighting so hard and paying these paid protesters to do it. It's just vibes and criminals running the streets in the name of Democrats they love. So what I want to say is, just remember what's at stake here, and we need to be just as serious about it and committed to voting as they are defending this nonsense to make sure for the future of this country continues to go in the right direction. But like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Peace.